Hi FlossTube, it's Amy, Guilford Girl Stitching here. I am Guilford Girl Stitching here on FlossTube and on Instagram. This is my FlossTube number 11. I do apologize. It has been like 3 months since I last filmed. I mean, to be honest with you, I kind of got a really bad haircut and just didn't want to go on camera, and it's still kind of not what I want, but it's growing out. It'll grow out. It's fine. It's all good. But anyway, I just came back from a really cool vacation I want to tell you all about. But before I get into that, I do want to show you a couple things of starts that I was going to do. One of my last videos was back in June or May. I was talking about how I had 2 big projects I wanted to start for the year. One of them was I was going to start on the 4th of July, which I did. It's going to be my 250th anniversary piece. I do hope to get it finished on the next 4th of July, the 250th birthday, but I don't know if that's going to happen. We will see. But I'm doing Barbara Anna's Long May She Wave. And this is as far as I've gotten, if you can see. I hate leaving a person half done, but it is what it is, and I will pick her back up and work on that some more. But it's a good start, and I'm pretty happy with that one. I really like it. I'm enjoying stitching it. I love Barbara Anna. She is one of my favorite designers. I'm going to try to slow down and not talk so much. Oh, also first, I have on Stitching Goddess Designs hoodie, Cross Stitch Nerd. I love buying her clothes. Her hoodies are always great. I have so many now. I do love them. She is fabulous. Athena. Check her out. Anyway. Oh, and my glasses of the day, my pair I wear today, are my new Halloween ones. Aren't these cute? Anyway, I'm a hot mess. This whole video is going to be a hot mess. I'll tell you why in a minute. I'm just going to show you this next one. The other one I wanted to start, and I started on what would have been my grandmother's 101st birthday, was Mary Snow from Hands Across the Sea Samplers. So you can see it a little bit better. Mary Snow is my grandmother's name, so this one is going to be really special. I am not necessarily a traditional sampler type person. I do love them. I love when I see other people do them. I tend to like things a little bit more funky, a little bit more different. Sometimes I do different colors. I was going to do this on a really different colored fabric. And it would not have worked. I do think the pattern is a little bit more different, a little funkier, maybe. Some of the motifs, the colors are not as standard as some of the samplers that are out there, which is one of the reasons why I liked it. But I do love it because it says Mary Snow, and again, that's my grandmother's name. But that's as far as I've gotten. You can see a long way to go. I'm doing this on 20 count from Atomic Ranch. I don't know the name of the color. I apologize. I'm not very prepared with any of that stuff. The fabric for Long May She Wave is a 16 count Charles Craft from Mystic Fibers. I love her Charles Craft. The 16 count Charles Craft, that's like one of my favorite fabrics to stitch on. So I have a couple pieces that I've done on that already, and I do love doing that. So that's what I had done a little bit of during the summer. I haven't done too much stitching. I do have a project that I will show you that I finished that I had been working on. And then there was another one that I forgot to gather up when I started to film this. So that one I'll show it another time. So of course Marketplace just happened, and since I was going on this trip, I didn't want to spend too much money, but I fell in love with this one from Jed X Stitch. It's called Circle Circle Dot Dot, and there were some absolutely gorgeous new patterns from this designer that I absolutely loved, but for some reason I just thought this one was kind of fun and quirky, and there were a couple things that just, I was like, look at the little inchworm with the top hat and bow tie. I had to do it for that. And then there's this like little cat with this like little grumpy cat. So I love this. I pre-ordered this one. And then I pre-ordered the fabric, the called for fabric, which is hibiscus from Fiber on a Whim. And I'm just doing the called for DMC colors. And that's as far as I've gotten. And I did stitch on this while I was away on vacation. Actually, I bought the floss while I was away on vacation. My group of friends from Steel City Stitchers that I've met throughout my years going to that retreat, and I have been planning for over a year to go to Hobby House in Pittsford, New York. They're from Pennsylvania and Ohio. There are 5 of them, and then me from Connecticut. Of course, I still have the longer drive. I always have the longer drive, but I do not mind driving. I like to drive by myself, long distances, put on an audiobook, and I just get into the trip, and I don't mind it. So we rented a house for a week. We got in a week ago Saturday and left yesterday Saturday. Oh, I forgot to say what the date is. I don't even know what the date is because I've been on vacation. It is sometime in September. So we rented this gorgeous house in Pittsford through Airbnb. Highly recommend it if you're looking to do something similar in the Airbnb. Just look up the name of the house. I think is the Retreat at Bushnell's Basin, which I think is a section of Pittsford. There's a lot of things that were called Bushnell's Basin. I don't think it's another town. I just think it's a little section. I never got clear on that, but it was a great house. There were 6 of us. We had plenty of room. There was a nice little big room that had a big couch and a TV living area. Then it moved into the dining room and then an open kitchen. So it was all one big room. It fit 6 people around that table perfectly. We kind of just sat down the first night and we kind of just stayed there. We just stayed and stitched. We had so much fun. We didn't do much. We went, so we got there Saturday. Sunday, we just had a PJ day. Monday, we went to Hobby House and shopped. Tuesday, I think we just stitched. Wednesday, we went back to Hobby House because they had an open stitch night. So we went and joined that group. We had a great time. It was so much fun. And then Saturday, Thursday, Friday, we didn't do anything but stayed in the house and stitched. Friday night, we played a game called, I don't even know what it was called, Imagine If with 2 Fs. So much fun. We just laughed hysterically. And if you know us from Steel City Stitchers, you know we laugh. We laugh a lot and loud. And it was so much fun. I have to say their names because they're going to get mad at me if I don't. It was Joanna, Donna, Cheryl, Tina, and Stacy, and myself. We had a blast. I can't say that enough. I highly recommend it. If you know of a big store like Hobby House, the Attic. I don't know if I'll ever get to Attic. That's on a bucket list, but that one is a plane ride. I don't know if I would do that one. Keepsakes. If you and a group of friends, a group of your stitchy friends, don't want to do an actual retreat, but want to get together and stitch, get a house. It cost less per person for the full week than a hotel room does for 3 nights at a retreat. And we were comfortable. We took turns cooking. We each chose a night. We brought tons of snacks. Then we went out and bought goodies. We researched the area so we knew where there were where to get ice cream, because that's important. We knew, I did check out some of the restaurants. We actually didn't end up going to any restaurants because it was just fun to cook and each take turns, and it was easy. We had leftovers for lunch, breakfast, whatever. But it was just, I highly recommend it. And I highly recommend just having a break where you're just stitching, where you're not rushing out to do something. Like we talked about doing an Erie Canal, because we were right on the Erie Canal. We talked about doing like a boat tour. We ended up not doing that. Just because we didn't want to have to rush. We didn't want to have to be like, okay, well, we need to be here at this time. It was such a relaxful time. And I'm so grateful to have that, having done that with really good friends, really good people, where we were doing stuff we all loved. One of the things that I've been working on, since the Steel City Stitchers retreat in April, was a pattern that Joanna picked out for all of us to do, or maybe it was Donna. They're sisters, so maybe they chose it together. It's called Love Grows, and it is, I think, by Cricklewood Crossing. And it just says love grows when stitching is shared. So I'm kind of done, but I might fix it. So here it is. If you can see, I shouldn't point it out, but there's a big mistake here on the bottom, and I had to do a couple extra rows here. I might pull it out. We're gonna, not everybody finished, so we're gonna have it completely done. There's a few little additional things I want to do. I haven't put my initials in yet. So we're gonna finish it at Steel City Stitchers when we're there. But the fun part is it had these 6 spools of thread. These are not I did the called for colors. Mostly where I didn't do a called for color, it was because I screwed up. But the spool colors all represent each of our favorite colors. So hopefully I'm going to get this right. This green is Cheryl. This is Stacy with the blue, which is such a pretty blue. This one is Joanna, the purple. The bright turquoise is Donna. Look at how gorgeous that color is. I am the dark green. And then Tina is this lovely pink color she picked out. So I want to put all of our initials underneath to remember who's who, and then initial it, and then maybe fix my boo-boo on the bottom. There's also a boo-boo in the tail here, but I'm not worried about that. And the spools tops were supposed to be brown. But I screwed that up. But that I'm not worrying about. But I kind of want to fix this bottom. But and then I don't know how to finish it. But it just, again, it's on 20 count Atomic Ranch. I don't know the name of the color. But it came out so nice. And it's a good remembrance of friends. I love the idea of doing something like that as a group. And we're going to do more. We have ideas. I picked out a simple pattern from one of the cross stitch cookbooks. Of course I don't have it with me. I apologize. That you can do in like any kind of color you want. So we're going to do kind of an exchange with that at some point. And then just, I also wanted to show this, and then I'll show you what I purchased at a hobby house. So Joanna and Donna gave each of us this little pillow that they made. They did it all in our favorite colors. So I got a green one. Look at how cute that is. And just how sweet. I just love the sentiment behind it. And it is something I will treasure forever, ladies. Okay. Oh, and then I gave people, and I have it because I'm using it right now, big old blankets from Kohl's. The Kohl's Big One blankets. It was a hit. Everybody was just walking around the house, keeping warm, keeping themselves cool or warm, whatever. So it was great to have those handy. I knew the house would have extra blankets, but I wanted my own little blanket. So I was like, I'm going to get one for everyone. Okay, so what I purchased a few patterns. One is not completely kitted up. Everything else is. This first one I'm going to show is actually the one I purchased Wednesday night when we went back for the stitch night. There were some really lovely ladies there that were local. I apologize. I didn't get all of your names. I am so sorry. But one of them does a lot of the red samplers, which I think are gorgeous. And I know I said I am not a sampler type girl. If I am, I kind of wanted to, I like to think, ooh, I want to do them in bright, funky colors, different, change it up a little. But those red samplers on just the neutral backgrounds are so lovely. And I did want to do one, so I picked up a Spanish red, Martha Maysailors in 1881. And it was done by running with needles and scissors. So it's just a nice, lovely one. I liked it because it had the crowns on it, and it is 147 by 157, so it's not too large. Some of those can get pretty big. But this is about the size I like to stitch, so I picked this one up, and I got a bunch of Weeks Dye Work Merlot, and it's going to go on this fabric here, which I kind of lost the paper as to what it's called and who it's by. So I apologize. I love it though. It's very pretty, and the red I think is going to look absolutely lovely on it. And it's very mottled. So I figured that it gives it a little extra me flair to it because I like the mottled look, and I think it's going to be lovely. I'm excited to start that. I'm going to start Whipco next year. I've never done that before, and I think one of my Whipco numbers will be to start this piece. So the thing with Hobby House is if you are a sampler girl, you will be in heaven. And if you're a linen stitcher, you will be in heaven. The amount of linen they have, and they are very, very big on the samplers. They are the first thing you walk in, and there's just sampler patterns everywhere. I wasn't looking to do a sampler. I did grab that one. I like to do birds. I like to do funky birds. And they have that. They do. You just have to like hunt for it. So if you're going to go to Hobby House, you need to plan time. It is huge. And they have so much, and you're not going to see it and find it in an hour. I walked around, I think, for at least a half hour before I made any kind of thought as to what I wanted to purchase, because it was so overwhelming, with everything that is there. But everybody who works there is very nice. They were very welcoming. They're like, oh yeah, take your time. We were there for 3 hours that first Monday morning. And I did find some great projects. The one I don't have fabric for, but I did get the floss, is Jordan Privé Composition Floral 1. And because it got birdie on it, if you can see, there's the birdie. And then I also liked the smalls. So, my friend Cheryl picked it up. She said, oh, look, it's got a cute birdie like you. I'm like, oh, I love that. So I did get it. I put the floss in the back. I just got some DMC. But I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to, I do have some ideas, but I'm not sure, and I'm not ready to start this just yet anyway. The other one I got, that I'm not ready to start yet. Another funky bird. It's called Le Poulet Pinkeep. It's a Stacy Nash, and it's a chicken with a hat. I mean, look at that. Just how, I'm sorry for the glare. How freaking cute is that? And I got for that one, this is an 18 count Phillip by Grace Notes Fabric. This was just a piece they had, already pre-cut. It was a perfect size. I got the called for flosses, which are also weeks dye. You can see they're just all the flosses with the fabric. I thought it was a pretty fabric to go with this. I am an Aida stitcher. They did have some Aida, not as much as I honestly would have liked. I would have liked a little bit more. There were some great fabrics there that were high count linens that were stunning. It wasn't something I'm gonna stitch on, but I did find things that I am very, very happy with. This one was a last minute ad. It is a sampler, which you go in there, even if you're not a sampler person, you come out a sampler person. But again, this one was a little funky. It was some, I think they're dogs. They don't have any ears on them. But it's so cute. It's not that big. It's called Charlotte Murdoch 1815 by the Scarlet House. And this one is 70 by 86. And I just thought that was cute and fun. I did not kit this one up. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's got about 8 or 9 colors to it. I'd kind of like to do something weird and different with it. Like maybe do some bright 80s colors. But I don't know. We'll see. And then another one I bought and started, and actually got halfway through, because we stitched a lot, is Eliza's French Birds 1849 by JBW Designs. Now, here's the thing with this one. I had found, I'll show you the fabric in a minute. I found the fabric and it was already a piece that was already cut, not a big piece. I just loved the color. I thought it was fabulous. And I walked around with just the fabric for a good 20 minutes, a half hour, looking for something that I could do on it, something that I liked. And I had remembered that I wanted, they have, JBW has a bunch of in the round ones, and they have an alphabet that's in the round. And I thought, oh, I can maybe do that on here and just find a nice fancy floss, maybe a nice variegated fancy floss and do that. But for whatever reason, I think they had pulled their JBW patterns off to the side, or I couldn't find them. And the woman brought them out, and there's like a big table in the fabric room. And so we had them, we were all kind of going through them in the fabric room. And one of my friends was like, oh, here, birds. And I don't want to say anything negative about a designer or a product or anything, because this is a fabulous, fabulous pattern. But it doesn't, it's not, the birds aren't really defined in this photo, or they don't really pop well in this photo. So I feel like I might have overlooked this in other circumstances, but I had this fabric in my hand and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go pull the floss, which I got, just the DMC. It called for like a combination of, Classic Colorworks, and Weeks Dye Works, which I just realized now that there were 2 different ones in there, which is probably why I couldn't find all the colors, because I misread that on here. But So I just decided to go ahead and do all DMC. This is a picture here of the original version of that they recreated on this. So I pulled the DMC to see how it would look with this dark green fabric that I had, which is by Cedar River, which I've never heard of that dyer before. And the color's called Arboreal. And this is where I'm at. And I just think that bird is popping off of this fabric so nicely. All of it is. I just think it looks so pretty. I love birds, but I haven't done a pretty bird. I've been doing funky birds, different types of birds, but this is just so lovely. I did get a Hobby House needle minder, and I can't wait to finish this. I just think it's so pretty, and I would love to there's some dark brown in here. I think I'm going to get a nice wooden dark brown frame and actually frame this one. I don't do a lot of finishing, but maybe I should. And then anyway, so we went Monday and we went back on Wednesday, and they have the Hobby House press with their designs. And they had a new one. Well, they had 3 new ones that were coming out, but they hadn't come back from the printers yet. And I really, really wanted them. So I was like, well, we'll stop by on Saturday on our way out to see if they're finally ready, which they were. And I got all 3, but I think I'm only keeping 1. I'm part of a stitch group, the Connecticut Stitching Circle. Everybody else from that group, or a lot of the people from that group, are going to Stitch New England in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, I am not going to go. I made the decision to do the Hobby House trip. Instead, I couldn't afford to do both. Money-wise and actually PTO-wise for work. So I chose to do the week vacation instead. Pam at Stitch New England does an amazing retreat. I've gone to the first 2, absolutely love them, but I do think I made the right decision in going to just a nice relaxing full week with just a few close friends. But anyway, here is the one I want to do, which is the Nordic Santa. How freaking cute is that pattern? So I ended up buying 2 of those. Oh, I don't think I finished my thought. So some of the extras that I purchased here are going into a gift basket or something that the group is putting together for the retreat as one of the raffle prizes, I think. So don't count on that in case you're there, but these were the other 2. One is a Halloween, which is fun, and then one matches the Nordic Santa. This is the Nordic Deer, which is cute too. I prefer the Santa, but those deer are adorable. So that is everything I purchased. Oh no, I did purchase a few other little things. Like I got a couple needle minders and needles. Who cares about needles? Everybody needs needles. I just picked up, I prefer John James 26. I got a couple of those, but they had this and I'm like, oh my God, I have to have it. It is just a microfiber cloth, glass to wipe your glasses with, but it is, am I holding it right? It's a sampler. So I had to have it. I thought it was so cute. But anyway, that's really all I have to say. Again, highly recommend a weeks-long vacation in Pittsford, New York, where you can go to Hobby House. We stayed at the Airbnb called The Retreat at Bushnell's Basin, 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, a big kitchen, living room area upstairs. Downstairs had one of the bedrooms, one of the bathrooms, and another little living area, which we could have used, but we didn't. We stayed up in the one area. Outside had a hot bathtub, big table outside. There was a TV out there. We watched FlossTube outside while we stitched one afternoon. There were some hammocks. There was a fire pit. There was actually like a little covered thing that had like a little bar that you could have sat out at if you wanted to. It was a great house, a great trip, wonderful people. Were met at Hobby House. Again, I highly recommend it. It was about 5.5 hour drive for me. I kind of went straight there on the Sunday I drove up. On the way back, I stopped in East Syracuse at a place called Hercules Candies because I watch how they make their hard candies on Facebook all the time. Those videos fascinate me. So I'm like, oh, it is 2 miles off the highway I'm driving on. I'm going to stop and get myself some of their hard candy. But other than that, I didn't do anything other than go to Hobby House for a week and stitching. It was great. It was fabulous. So that's it for today. Hopefully I will be back in a few weeks to show you. Hopefully this will get finished and a couple other things started or done, worked on. But anyway, I rambled for a half hour and that's it. Have a great day, FlossTube. Bye.